SportsTownChicago.com.
O'Hare.
Broadcasting live from Sportstown, Chicago.
Broadcast home for your Windy City Bulls and Chicago Dogs.
We're in a league of our own. Now, here's your SportstownChicago.com update.
At 8:15, I'm Matt Donlee. Just dropped at the United Center as the Blackhawks and Flyers face off tonight. In addition to injuries to Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard, winger Nick Foligno is out tonight as well with a hand injury. Tonight's game is on TNT. 3 Bears players were named to the 2026 NFC Pro Bowl team, with guard Joe Thuney, center Drew Dahlman, and safety Kevin Byard all being named starters at their respective positions. Earlier today, head coach Ben Johnson spoke with the media about what went into their win Saturday.
It's the type of guys that we have in the building, first and foremost. We have put a premium on guys that we feel like will be able to handle pressure, because those are the type of situations we want to be in these high leverage situations, these big time games, prime time games. And so the guys we look to bring in this building, we want to make sure that they can handle that type of stuff.
With the playoff berth clinched already, the Bears look to prepare over the next coming days for their Week 17 game at the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Earlier today, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur spoke with the media about the health of his 2 quarterbacks who played against the Bears, Jordan Love and Malik Willis.
Is Jordan still in the protocol, and will he practice that?
He's in the protocol, and he'll practice per the protocol, so he'll be limited. He will be limited as well.
With the Bears currently the 2nd seed in the NFC and the Packers occupying the 7th seed, there is a likely chance the Bears can host the Packers once again in the wild card round of the playoffs. After signing one of the biggest Japanese free agents in Munetaka Murakami on Sunday, the White Sox signed left-handed reliever Sean Newcomb to a 1-year, $4.5 million deal today. As a member of the Red Sox and A's last season, the 32-year-old pitched in 48 games, logging a 2.73 ERA and 91 strikeouts in 92 1/3 innings pitched. This has been your SportsTownChicago.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. If interested in a career in media, go to beonair.com.
And you will respect my authority. Me to left.
And now, it's time for the Matt and Liz.
College football playoffs and with Illinois State University. Hope you
Yes, sir. And let's go around and meet our first guest here today, Mr. Adam from the 5th Quarter. Adam, where can the good people find you on social media, sir?
They can find me on Instagram on slim_SHNADY. That is slim_Schnady.
Fantastic. Lee, where can the people find you?
They can locate me at BROGEODI on all platforms, most platforms.
Fantastic. For me, it's Matt_D14 on Twitter and TikTok. And Andrew, where can they find you? Let's kick this off.
You can find me on Instagram at @TrippyMighty. You can find me on Facebook at my name, Andrew Scheid, but you can also catch me Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. on Big Top Sports WRMN with your host, Derek Geyer. And with that, we are going to be talking the Chicago Bears win over the Packers this Saturday night, and I have to tell there anymore. Can someone take an X-ray for me?
Definitely, if I do say so myself, I was sitting there watching it. Honestly, right, I think it was I had 4 something left on the clock, and I'm like, let me go start making me a sandwich and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Just still got the game on and whatnot, and I hear a little bit of commotion in the back. It's like, oh, they recovered the kick. I'm like, wow.
You forgot it's the Cardiac Bears, Lee. I mean, they're doing this all season with us here.
Cardiac Bears, Cardiac Bulls, yeah, for sure. Caleb Williams, throws a dot, right? I mean, for everybody who's listening who doesn't know, a dot is just like if you got a sniper, you know what I mean? You got that little aim, that bullseye for target. I mean, a dot, precise, right? It's such a clutch moment with it all on the line. I mean, it was beautiful. definitely, I know we're getting into more so what that brings for the Bears and what we can see more. But I couldn't stop talking about that enough. I will give it away. 'Cause I go forever.
And one thing I have to say is people will go around, and I've heard it, and Packers fans the past 3 days have been, you guys cheated or you got lucky in that last touchdown with the catch. Touched that ball in the end zone that it was a catch. There was no doubt in my mind. So all you Packers fans out there just need to relax, man. Your playoff hopes are still alive with that loss, man. Just relax.
It's tough after you go as a fan. I'm sure years. I know it as an Ohio State fan. When you go years of dominating one team and they finally get one back, it really hurts. It hurts more than the other ones feel good when you win them.
Mm-hmm. And with the Packers, I mean, again, Andrew said it really well. Their playoff hopes are still alive. So I don't know why the hell they're just crying still about it. And with the Bears like that, they had an 8% chance to recover that kickoff. 8. Yeah. And we did it. That 94% out the window. We tied the game. John A. Walker. I thought Caleb was about to throw it out. And then just this guy comes out of nowhere, catches the touchdown.
Right.
Get to overtime, and the Packers couldn't convert on a 4th and 1. And what happens? Caleb Williams throws it downfield. Touchdown, DJ Moore. So thank you, DJ Moore.
No, there we go. As good as that call was, Adam, I got the actual call right here.
The fake Williams looking downfield, launching downfield, going for it all. It is caught. Bears win it. DJ Moore.
I think they were in as much shock as anybody else watching that was that ended up that way. But
I'm sorry, you go first. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, one thing, because we're talking about that last play, and Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, I've listened to them my whole life, childhood on. Their call of that last touchdown was just one of the best calls that I think will be remembered in Bears history. And if you were listening on the radio, you heard it. But them going, the Iceman coming. The Iceman taking. I mean, it was just the perfect sentence for that. Again, one of the awesomest calls I've ever heard on air.
With the Trae Young ice cold sentiments, so I'm like, oof. He is cold.
It's no pun intended. It's a very cold nickname too. Like that, the Iceman. Like that's
cool.
That gets pretty good.
Smooth, right? Averages comparative to the other quarters, of course, a 95.3% passer rating in the fourth, as compared to his second best, which is 88.3 in the second quarter. For some reason, he likes those even numbers pretty well, but a higher completion rate in the fourth quarter as well over these last few games. So, Mr. Clutch, Mr. Iceman, indeed.
Honestly,
I can't even complain about any of this, only because, for one, it was just mind-boggling. Just that win. That was less than probably 5%, even going into overtime. They were looking like, I mean, they could have converted. Again, they lost. Also, I believe Tom Brady was doing that game too.
I think so, yeah.
And he was shot too. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I was just overly shocked at the way they were able to overtake this game. And it seems like the Bears are never out of any game they're playing. Most teams, you can say by a certain quarter, a certain time in a quarter that, okay, they're not going to come back from this. They're not a team like that.
You're good. You guys are good.
Or anything like that. But this team, they're never out of any game that they do. And never have they given up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole mentality around this team is they don't give up.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think it is about the fact that it's frustrating as a Bears fan for sure that for, 3.5 quarters of any given game, it could be like, oh man, this is going to be a typical same old loss here. But and then in that final, half of a quarter there, they just seem to come back from the dead. That was, that was the story here. And that first 3.5 quarters, it didn't really look great. It looked like, quite frankly, that game in Green Bay, that first half, quite a bit. So what do you think it is, Andrew, about this team that they're, able to do this on such a consistent basis. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What do you make of it?
And I talked about this a little last night on WR, man. I would just like to see Caleb show up, not necessarily in the first quarter, but maybe some in the second quarter, maybe some in the third quarter. But I think they just don't let anything get to them. Adversity nothing affects them.
Yeah, it is a very good ability on their part to bounce back for sure. But at the same time, it's a little worrisome in my opinion. And I know that we'll talk, what the playoffs look like later. But going into the playoffs and having clinched this playoff berth, it's a little worrisome to think that hey, they can do that against teams during the regular season. They can do that against teams that they're familiar with. But when they're playing a team that they might not have seen this season, and especially in such a high stakes game, what do you think, Adam? Like, what does that do for a team? Not only the ability to know that you can go out and win any given game, but does that also kind of allow them to take the gas off a little bit and not be aggressive early in the game, knowing that they've got that potential later on?
No, absolutely not. Because the second you take off the gas pedal, you take your foot off the gas pedal, that's just a clear and distinct advantage the other teams can take, because that'll just add more points to the board. That might just come up with an upset. I mean, look at, I know this is college football, but look at Alabama and Oklahoma. Oklahoma took the gas pedal a little bit off. They were up 17-0. Bama came back in the second half, 34-24. So that just kind of shows right there that at any given point, even if you take the gas pedal off, you better hope that defense can stand strong.
Right.
And I totally agree with you on that. I think this 2025 team, and anyone in this room, say if you disagree with me, but this has been mostly a defensive team that has kept them in a lot of these games.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom has always gotten, I don't want to say upset at me for saying this, but a little irked when people compare this team, to the 85 Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying they're like the 85 Bears in the way they play the game, but when you look at the numbers that this 25 team has put up, these running backs have done things that have not been done since the days of Walter Payton and Matt Suhey. This coach has done stuff that has not been done since George Halas and Patty Driscoll. So, I mean, just in those respects, this team is doing an amazing job. From what people thought they were going to do at the beginning of the season, I think they've exceeded every expectation that was put before them.
Yeah, and who would have thought? And we said it again last week, but I'll say it again this week for all the Bears fans out there. Look, hey, message us on social media at all of our handles if you disagree, but you got to just be thankful that they've gotten this far and they've clinched a playoff berth this early. I thought at best they would sneak into the wild card round this year, but looking at the way in which they've won some of these games, it's reminiscent in a way of the Chiefs from last year, right? You look at the Chiefs last year, they make it all the way to the Super Bowl. They lose, of course, but each week, you could go from weeks 2 to 14, and you could look at pretty much every game that they won in that stretch and say, if this play didn't happen, if that play didn't happen, that's really how it feels with the Bears. And again, what is the likelihood that it's great that they got it against the Packers, but what is the likelihood that you can come from behind and convert a successful onside kick en route to a victory in the playoffs again? It's very improbable, and if it happens, that's great, but it seems like their plan of attack seems to be a little, hey, we got it in the end, and some Bears magic's been happening, but for me it just doesn't seem sustainable at the moment.
No, and you can't keep winning off of onside kicks as well, even though we recovered ours. But at the end of the day, we look at it from a perspective of desperation. That's what an onside kick is. It's a desperate move to try to get the ball back, even though there's a low percentage. And in the playoffs, that gets even lower because the intensity is up. People have to put in the extra 10% and 100%, so 110%. And if you don't, tough luck.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with you fully. I think a lot of things get amplified when it comes to the postseason. And there's one thing I want to ask you guys: are we set when it comes to the kicking position for the Chicago Bears? Is Cairo Santos the answer for the Chicago Bears going forward?
Hey, good question, right? I mean, I haven't seen too much, what should I say, failure from Santos to be notable or mentionable. I think that for the most part, that comes down to the Bears' performance overall. Caleb and them pushing that ball down to make sure there doesn't have to be anything that's questionable. I guess in this instant, we're thinking about maybe our 50-yard kicks, 45 and up.
Right,
like that.
because we have to remember in the playoff situation is when those 3-point kicks get magnified, and when a kick can win or lose you a game is a lot when what happens in the playoffs.
No
and
doubt
we've
about
seen
it.
it time and again. And I hate to bring this up for Bears fans, and it hurts, but I'm just going to say 2 words with the double doink, man.
Not the double doink.
I mean, but that's a good example of how kicks define playoff wins and losses.
And not just the kick, but the kicker himself.
Yeah.
Because Cody Parkey is demonized in Chicago. Anyone who brings it up, bless you. Anyone. Crazy.
Well, also, when you look at that Cody Parkey season, there were signs well to come before. He had donked several kicks leading up to that game, and it was just kind of in his, kind of to be expected almost when he would go out there that, hey, especially toward the end of the season, this one might hit the uprights and not go in. When you look at Santos, though, he hasn't missed an extra point so far this season, knock on wood, and he also is 83% basically in his kicks. He's 4 of 6 from 50 plus, 10 of 12 from 40 to 49, and 8 of 9 in the 30s. So, he's very consistent, and kicks will be missed. That's just the nature of being an NFL kicker, and sometimes, especially in the cold Chicago weather, you never know how that wind's gonna make a factor, and so you do need that kicker to rely on. But at the same time, especially if the Bears are hosting playoff games at home, they need to take that weather into account and hopefully not have to rely on that kicker so much.
Oh yeah, and I mean, especially with some teams having dome stadiums with weather-controlled climate inside, no wind, no cold, just a pretty stagnant weather. So for kickers, that's an advantage for them wherever they play. But if you look at the Rams and their kicking situation, you got. It's open air, closed dome. It's a mix, and with them, if they were to go to a open a colder environment, I mean, for a kicker who lives in Los Angeles, that's going to be quite a difficult task to do.
Yeah, that's true, and you might get that home field advantage. Say if you happen to have the Rams at home, and we'll talk about all that later. But again, it could be a home field advantage, and then who knows? We were talking about that stadium building last week.
Yeah,
that happens for sure.
Can't wait till I'm 84.
Yeah, to wrap it up and add to what Andrew said as well, with Cairo Santos, of course, 3 for 3, not to mention heavy wins, by the way. So, look at his performance in Chicago with that crucial weather, of course, in bad situations. He made it from 46, 51, and 43 yards, respectively. So he should be fine.
But the reason I do bring that up, Lee, is he did miss one this week. I thought one did go wide right on him Saturday night.
Yeah, 35 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
In this game here, Cairo Santos was 3 of 3 for field goals.
Yeah, he made a 41-yarder before, so a few on a 35. But like I say, those longer ones, more notable ones, 51, 46 in heavy wins, it seems pretty confident to me. Moving forward, modern-day Bears looking like the 2018 Monsters of Midway. All right, this ain't Return of the Mac, but stellar play in Chicago is back. My bad.
He's right there. It's the bottom of the 7th inning. The last chance to order beer. But we didn't come here to drink beer. We came here to win this ball game.
Chicago's so lucky.
SportsTownChicago.com.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Pizza at your house and you can get it at the store. Uh-oh, here we go. Chicagoland area. Little Caesars is heating up for the summer. Try our new Crazy Puffs, $3.99. Walk in or delivery. 7 days a week. 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Filled with cheesy mozzarella, pepperoni, pizza sauce, buttery, garlic flavor drizzle, Italian herb and Parmesan seasoning, deep dish Detroit style pizza, $7.99. Super cheesy bread, $5.99. Hot and ready combo, $12.99. And for your daily deals, go to LitCaesars.com. Oh, Little Caesars, with our crazy puffs and cheesy dreams, you light up my soul with your pepperoni schemes. With every slice we share, with every moment we dare in this piece of love affair. So you didn't hear that just here. You don't want to miss out on these delicious deals. Visit your Chicagoland area Little Caesars today. Cheese, cheese, cheese.
Nobody does food better than our friends south of the border. If you're looking for delicious, authentic Mexican food in Chicagoland's backyard, check out the Topos restaurant. Try their quesadillas, burritos, or my favorite, the 3-taco combo with steak and extra chipotle salsa.
Muy caliente!
Even have breakfast for early risers. Topos is the highest rated Mexican restaurant in Naperville on Yelp. Once you try it, you'll understand why. Visit toposnaperville.com for their menu, special offers, and online ordering on Grubhub. Pickup or delivery. Topos Restaurant. Open nightly until 8:30, closed on Sundays, located next to the Jewel on Aurora Avenue in Naperville. Experience fresh, homemade Mexican at the Topos Restaurant.
I got an affordable family-owned restaurant for you that won't cost you an arm and a leg. It's Goodies in River Grove. My Goodies order never changes. A gyros, not a gyro. Smother in sauce and hot fries on the side for less than $9. If I'm really starved, I'll add a chicken kebab to my order. Looking for more? Try a juicy cheeseburger, Chicago-style hot dogs, or a toasty corned beef meal. I can walk in 7 days a week, dine with my family, or call 708-583-1700. Pick it up and enjoy it at home. Can't stop in? Not a problem. Goodies delivers through Grubhub, DoorDash, and Seamless. Goodies is located at Cumberland, Belmont, River Grove. Goodies bring authentic Greek food to the Chicago.
It's the summer of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. To reach peak summer mode, you need your summer coffee, like a smooth new s'mores frozen Dunkin' coffee, a refreshing butter pecan iced coffee, or a sweet coconut cream pie cold brew. What could be better than iced frozen coffee on a hot summer day? Nothing. Dunkin' Donuts has all your favorite flavors this summer. So come enjoy the summer of coffee and keep cool out there, kids. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Looking for a great bargain? Want to find cool collectibles? Need to get fresh fruit and vegetables for the family? Come on down to Swap-O-Rama. 3 great locations, 42nd and Ashland in Chicago, Melrose Park in Ulsa, with hundreds of indoor and outdoor vendors selling clothing, tools, electronics, and much, much more. Have stuff for sale? Become a Swap-O-Rama vendor and turn your hidden treasure into cash. Visit their website for market days, hours, and vendor information. Go to swap-o-rama.com. Swap-O-Rama, the first name in flea markets.
I've said it in a couple of speeches that I've had before that I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the tallest, fastest, whatever the case may be. I get drafted here, told that I'm not a special player, told that I'm not a good fit here, told that coach and I won't work. I'm told I can't win here. I know that's going to keep going on, but I do take a little satisfaction in things like that, and being able to help this team, help this organization, be a part of it, to get to the playoffs. And my goal isn't to just get to the playoffs. My goal is to win and win big. And so I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep growing for the guys in this building, for the coaches and things like that, for this organization and for the city, to be able to be proud and happy to be fans, supporters of Chicago Bears.
Like we said, this is a return of the back. So competitive football in Chicago is back. Haven't seen anything like it since 2018 with those midway monsters, Khalil Mack and Vic Fangio, on
Vic Fangio. He was quite the guy to have.
Making it a fight on defense. So now it's a little different. We got an offensive firepower team. Okay, playoff spot clinched, at least wild card. Hoping to try to clinch the division with just one more win. Packers in the way, right? We're trying to figure out what's coming up next. Matt, I know you were telling me a little bit about just some expectations when it came to facing the Rams before we started. So I got a little overview for that. I'll go ahead and get a little intel for you.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. So basically, when we're looking at the playoff picture right now, if the season was to end this very second, the Bears would be the number 2 seed. That means that they would host the number 7 seed, being the Packers right now.
No doubt.
Now, that's subject to change, of course. It could be the Lions, right? Really, when we're looking at this, it's very unlikely. I think it's actually maybe not impossible, but it's very likely going to either be the Packers or the Lions, and more than likely it's going to be the Packers. So that 2-7 matchup, if the Bears can clinch that NFC North, they'll be the home team, they'll host. Now, if they were to make it onto the second round, being the 2 seed, they would also host the next round game, and that would be between the winner of the 3-6 game. And that's interesting because the 3 is more than likely going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. And they would play either the Seahawks or the Rams. Currently, the Rams hold that as they lost on Thursday Night Football to the Seahawks there. So it could be either basically the second place team in the NFC West is going to be who that second round game would be. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead, but these are all potential teams that the Bears might face en route to what they want to be as a Super Bowl championship.
So, no doubt about it. Most formidable out of the two probably being the Rams. That's not to take away from Sam Darnold, of course. However, the closest competition I've seen statistically when looking it up in the last 5 games to Caleb, I feel like those are some of the most important. Obviously, you can't take away from the rest of the season.
Right. They've got some major passing attacks over there on the West Coast, that's for sure. Yeah. The Seahawks and the Rams, they know how to throw it. And when we look at what the Packers are able to do when we look at those couple games against the Bears there, sometimes what it comes down to in that defensive, what that can let up sometimes is that deep attack, those slants across the middle of the field, and sometimes that can hurt the Bears, especially that secondary coverage there. So if the Bears were to face a very pass-heavy team with arms like Darnold and Stafford, that could be areas of concern definitely going forward.
No doubt about it. I wanted to add on a little bit about that rush as well. When it comes down to the running, tell me a little bit, Adam. How you feeling, by the way?
The run with the Seahawks?
Yeah.
Or what?
Sorry about it. How you feeling? That was what I was saying in the middle, but we'll get straight to it. Yeah, I'm just talking.
You feeling good tonight?
Get that out of you.
Yeah. No, the Rams have a really solid team, and for some reason Matthew Stafford just ages like fine wine. I mean, he has 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That is MVP caliber numbers, which, speaking of MVPs, he is the front runner, I believe. And just with that team surrounding him, you got Devontae Adams, you got Puka Nacua, you got Kyron Williams, you got Byron Young on the defense. I mean, you got Jared Verse.
You got Blake Corum
as the second running back. But I mean, just the team, the talent, and the culture. I know Nick hates that word, but the culture overall that has been built in Los Angeles is phenomenal. Yeah. Everything you want to see. Barely any mistakes. Yeah, you lost to the Seahawks in an unfortunate 2-point conversion, but all in all, this team has the best chance to win the Super Bowl very closely next to the Seahawks. And for the AFC, you also got Broncos and Patriots, and those are two teams who haven't won it since basically the best QB ever. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady have played on those franchises. So with that also being said, the Kansas City Chiefs are no longer in the playoffs. They haven't won the division. They're out. And it's very interesting because the AFC is wide open. So at this point, if I'm looking at it just as a fan, I think Buffalo has the best chance to win it. Patriots are still young. They're developing. You got Drake May, who's already, a MVP caliber candidate, as well as Travion Henderson, which I don't know why Vrabel sat him, but look what he's doing. And then
hopefully he's back. He had a head injury he left the last game with, so hopefully he's able to return soon.
Let's hope for the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, you got Stephon Diggs. I can keep going, but that's just my look on it.
No doubt about it. Andrew, I want to get around to you. Just being subjective, I started with the Rams because, of course, we already know most likely we have the Packers up next. So we know we'll have to get more into the nitty-gritty. But, of course, just looking at these passer ratings and the comparative close numbers to their yards and attempts, Matthew Stafford and Caleb Williams aren't too far off, only separated by a mere about 34 yards as far as, yards in the last – this is all last 5 games. So Matthew Stafford with 412, Caleb with 388. Passer ratings only different by 2, right? Caleb with 118, Matthew with 120. And Matthew has thrown 1 interception, while Caleb has thrown none. Of course, Matthew had 1 more touchdown. So when it comes to the QB battle, it's not really persuading me too much. Can you get a little bit into the run or something else that's formidable about the Rams that make them just such an outstanding opponent for us coming up?
I mean, again, Matthew Stafford, like Adam said, age is like fine wine. I remember watching this guy in Detroit when he was over with the Lions, too. I mean, he was just a force over there in Detroit. Yeah. But I think one thing that I don't necessarily say is glossed over with the Rams, but is not always talked about, is their head coach. Let's not forget, this head coach is the grandson of another winning head coach in the NFL. So he learned very early how to be a winner. And that culture, that winning culture, he learned that very early on.
And McVay's been doing this with the Rams for a while now, right? He was there when they won that Super Bowl back in 21, I believe.
Yes.
And, I really like your point earlier, Adam, where you said that the Bills, right, out of the AFC, you got to look in situations like this where, like you said, when the Chiefs are out, who's got the experience? You got the Bills. They've been there before. They've been deep in the playoffs. You've got the Rams, who have obviously, with their head coach, gone on to win the Super Bowl, as well as having Matthew Stafford go very deep in the playoffs as well with the Rams here. And so, I like your assessment of that, where you have a lot of young teams like the Bears and like the Patriots coming out, and they're doing really well in the regular season, but it's also, who's been there before and who knows how to handle that pressure.
And it's not to say that the Bears are going to do bad. That's not at all what I'm implying. They're young, and just like you said, they're young, inexperienced in the playoffs, and it's been 5 years since we've actually made a playoff appearance when we lost really bad to the New Orleans Saints when they still had Drew Brees. But with that being also said, if the Bears are to make a deep playoff run, they're going to need to lock in no mistakes, especially with those teams who do have that experience around them, and be able to outcoach and outmaneuver the other team. Because let's just say, for an example, Bears make it to the NFC Championship game against the Rams. That is going to be one of the ultimate tests to show, hey, we can outmaneuver you, we're faster than you, and we have a better strategy that can lead to more touchdowns, a couple field goals if necessary, and hell, maybe a pick six, maybe. So it really just depends on how Ben Johnson for the Bears sees this and looks into the playoffs going forward.
Definitely. And Lee, you were bringing this up earlier, and I agree with your point about the Rams being a very formidable foe here. How much do you think, they're playing in a dome in Los Angeles for their home games. How much do you think if the Bears were to see them in the second round, and would that weather play a factor? Especially it's going to be in January, right there on the lakefront. How much do you think that would play a factor?
Right. So huge, especially since last segment we were talking about Cairo Santos with those kicks. Right, of course, being efficient there. So I think that just having the advantage, of course, with the wind, with that mentality of the cold, fight through that, I should say. That mentality definitely goes a long way. Especially, like you say, having less experience, we need some on our side, right? Some type of benefit. So I don't know how much it affects Matt's head as far as like accuracy or things of that nature. I think that the Bears defense also really just needs to step up and make sure they are accurate, especially against such a formidable foe. Keep bringing it up with the Rams, because I feel like Malik Willis, as good as he is, I don't really see him as much as a threat as Caleb, so to speak.
Right.
And I guess I put a lot of pressure on my quarterbacks. I think that if they just play great, the rest of the game will be okay.
And the one thing I want to say is, you were just talking about putting pressure on quarterbacks. Let's not forget that Ben Johnson at the beginning of this season wanted Caleb Williams to complete over half of his passes for the season. He wanted him to be at like a 70% passing completion by the end of the year. I don't know of any quarterback in history who has done that.
Yeah.
So he already set a high bar coming out of the gate for Caleb. And I think that's one of the things that pushed Caleb this season, was showing, all right, last year under this head coach, I didn't do as good as I could have done, but now this year you got me a good head coach. I want to show you what I can do, and I think that's what he's done. I think Ben Johnson, to a point, has taken the training wheels off of Caleb Williams. I really think he has,
and he's letting him play to the strengths of his abilities as well. Now, obviously, the Superman mentality is still there a little bit, and he holds the ball a little too long. So, with that being said, also, you gotta look at it and still say, hey, Caleb is not the perfect quarterback. No one is. If someone was the perfect quarterback, they'd have no interceptions, all touchdowns. It'd be crazy. Point is, Williams has a few things to work out. Again, he holds the ball still a little too long. Sometimes doesn't see that open receiver, which actually brings my point back to the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, you can't be missing those open receivers. You cannot make those mistakes. And it's the small mistakes that kill a team.
I mean, and I think we saw some of this on Saturday night too. Kill dimes, and they were going into either Colston Loveland, DJ Moore, Alhamze Dakia. They were going right in their breadbasket, right in the numbers, and they couldn't pull it in. So I have to speculate: is that on Caleb Williams or is that on your receivers?
I would say Alamidas. There was a pass that Caleb made to Alamidas. That was on him. He pass went right into the numbers.
Right.
He completely just dropped it. There were a couple of passes that went over or just went attack, because there was a pass where Colston went like this with the pass. He had to reach over more, right. Meaning the accuracy for that particular pass should have been more to the left rather than the right.
Right. But I also have to say, I've studied football for 16, 17, a long time. And I will say, and I've watched Peyton Manning, I've watched a lot of good quarterbacks do it. They'll throw a football right outside of a receiver to prevent a defender from undercutting that ball. So you have to think, was he doing that to try and get it away from the defender?
Yeah, but those passes are crucial as well, especially if it's a 3rd and 10, for example, if it is a 3rd and 10. Now, will every single one of them get there? Of course not. Not every quarterback will get it. Tom Brady's had trouble at times. Oh, sure. Manning has had trouble at times. But Caleb is not a Brady or Manning.
No, he's not.
So for him, in his case, I think he has to try just a little bit harder. And I think I don't think he has to prove anything to anyone. We've seen how he played against the Packers. He ended up winning. He ended up helping the team out. But again, those the small little accuracy issues is what will kill the Bears in the playoffs if something isn't corrected. If they clinch, give them some time to rest and or keep practicing through whatever time you have left in the regular season to practice those small little accuracy fixes, make those fixes.
Right. And I think one thing that truly needs to be fixed, we were talking about it pre-show, was the pre-snap penalties. Saturday night, 100 yards worth of penalties. That is not a playoff team.
That's not a playoff team.
By any stretch of the imagination. And I love my Bears. I want them to do good. But that is one thing that desperately, desperately needs to be cleaned up.
Definitely. Yeah, I will agree. I will agree with you on that. Definitely probably similar to why they couldn't make the hump before and as well with the Bulls. Just got these super stellar moments, this high-flying potential, but with those mistakes, you don't have enough talent to make mistakes like the next team. You know what I mean? You have to capitalize on every single play, very much so.
No, absolutely. I mean, every play counts in the playoff. When it's the regular season, you can kind of get away with making a few mistakes or so because, especially like at the beginning and slightly towards the middle, when you're still like, hey, it's not clinch time, kind of hopefully get the team identity solved earlier in the season. But once you get to the playoffs, once you clinch a spot or even the bye, it's game on. You can't be making mistakes. You keep that to a minuscule. As well as, like you guys said, the pre-snap penalties. The Bears cannot be making these silly little penalties or else it'll cost us the game. It's small things like that. Just a one fraction of a hair of a move, like, whoop, with the head. Move, false start, 5-yard penalty. So, and like you said, Andrew, that fantastic point you made. The Bears need to clean it up. We don't play for the offensive line, guys.
Yeah.
It seems like it's the right side of the offensive line with Jonah Jackson.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but
that's where all those.
We have about 2 to 3 minutes left in the segment here. So one question I want to ask everyone here to end it: what do we want to see realistically out of the Bears this playoff run? And I'll start with Adam, and we could just go around the table.
Yay, me first. One thing I want to see. Clean up the penalties. Clean up the small little accuracy passes that could have been a 40-yard bomb that went just a foot over the head of the wide receiver. Get that nailed down to the wire. Pre-snap penalties, stop them or keep them to a extreme minuscule to the point where it won't affect as much as it would in the regular season.
Yeah. Lee, your thoughts on it? What do you want to see out of the Bears? This playoff run, it's the first one in 5 years.
No, definitely, right. So just want to see them make sure they utilize their run game so that once again Caleb can get busy. That's not just obviously for that though, but Monangai and Swift are leading the league with their little combo and yards and running carries. They are the most efficient. So it goes a long way that you need the run game against these teams, ironically anyway, but it just makes it that much better that we are formidable in that area. So I want them to use that to open it up because we already know about, the star power we have with our receivers.
Yeah. Matt, your thoughts on the playoffs this year?
Clean it up. The playoffs or the penalties need to definitely come down like we talked about. We also, I think we would all like to see that the Bears work on that chemistry still late in the season. That chemistry is something that can continue to grow going into the playoffs. And first and foremost, just get healthy, though. I think that's one of the big things. And I think if they can do those three things, I think, the second round and beyond is definitely a place that, the Bears can definitely be and strive for.
We'll need Roma Dunze.
Yeah. I mean, he's one that we get back. But one thing I want to say to end this segment is from all of us on the Donlee Sports Talk Show, I mean, we're voting for the Bears. And,
go Bears. Go.
Show.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down. Let's go.
Let's go.
They were the last team in, and now they're one of the last two standing. When we return, we'll discuss what Illinois State's unlikely playoff run can tell us about a group of 6 teams in the college football playoff.
This is your home for sports.
It's the best fans in the world.
No better team. SportsTownChicago.com.
Are you ready for this? Valley View Automotive has all of the hottest SUVs you've been looking for. Enjoy a test drive and the opportunity to drive one of these powerful vehicles off the lot for half the price. Yes, half the price. Now's the time to get yourself to Valley View by car, on foot, or even by air to take advantage of this outrageous sale. You better get here quickly, because this promotion is only going on for 24 hours, and the automobiles are leaving the lot faster than you can say 4-wheel drive. Valley View Automotive, a dealership you can depend on.
Hey, I'm Andy Griggs, asking you to help prevent domestic violence. Domestic violence isn't a woman's issue. It hurts all of us. Women are injured and killed every day by their husbands and boyfriends. So it's time for men to take action right now to teach boys that violence against women is wrong, to help prevent abuse before it starts. Call the Family Violence Prevention Fund at 1-800-END-ABUSE to get a free Take Action kit containing tips on what to say to boys. That's 1-800-END-ABUSE. Teach early.
Indeed is the #1 job search user with over 250 million monthly users. Indeed's priority is to help everyone in the job searching process to find a job by uploading 10 new job opportunities every 10 seconds worldwide. With Indeed, you have free access to job searches, resume uploads, and company researches. There are over 10,000 employees at Indeed that pursue to help people find the job they are looking for. They connect with millions of people to new opportunities. Go to Indeed.com and sign up for free and create a resume and let Indeed do the rest to help you on your job search.
Hey, I'm Jesus Mauricio. Be sure to tune in every Friday to listen to Zeus Off the Bat, a baseball talk show from 1 to 2 p.m. where I'll be discussing and updating you on all things about baseball. News, predictions, reactions, and more about the Cubs, Sox, and everything across the league. Happens every Friday at 1 p.m. right here on SportsTownChicago.com. Don't forget to follow and share our Twitter and Instagram with your friends at Zeus Off the Bat. Zeus Off the Bat!
Chicago sports for sure.
SportsTownChicago.com.
It's the summer of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. To reach peak summer mode, you need your summer coffee. Like a smooth new s'mores frozen Dunkin' coffee, a refreshing butter pecan iced coffee, or a sweet coconut cream by cold brew. What could be better than an iced or frozen coffee on a hot summer day? Nothing. Dunkin' Donuts has all your favorite flavors this summer. So come enjoy the summer of coffee and keep cool out there, kids. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Hoo-yah!
When car dealers fight for your business, you win. AutoJudo.com makes car buying fun by letting dealers compete for your business live. Real-time Auto Judo fights are the fast and easy new way to get multiple dealers' best offer on any car you want. It's free and anonymous. Only the dealer you select as the winner of your Auto Judo fight receives your contact info. You're never obligated to buy, so test drive your best deals now at AutoJudo.com. Dealers fight, you say, "Hoo-yah!"
Yo, check it out. We got the finest pizza in all the land. Italian Fiesta is on deck, and I'm telling you, it's a hit. These pies don't miss. No matter what time you get the munchies. Pepperoni, extra cheese, turkey Italian sausage, they got all the toppings. Italian Fiesta delivers until midnight during the week and 1 a.m. on the weekends. Plus, you can use your Uber Eats or Grubhub if you got the app. And if you ain't rocking with the pizza that night, try one of their sandwiches or pasta. And they have plenty of side dishes, just like me, if you know what I mean. Hop online and go to ItalianFiesta.com or call 773-684-2222. Piece of pizza, that is.
There's only one place to watch your favorite sports team and have mouth-watering pizza. Come on down to Moretti's Pizzeria, where you can get a pizza for half the price every Tuesday. Try out our delicious varieties of pizza, sandwiches, and much more. I don't know about you, but a gooey mac and cheese pizza with a size of cheesy mozzarella sticks and watching sports sounds like paradise to me. Stop by at one of our 12 locations near you. We're open 7 days a week, anywhere from 10:30 a.m. to midnight. Visit our website, Moretti'sRestaurants.com, for delivery, catering, and even private parties. Moretti's, we bring the fun.
Did you know that Club New in Aurora is the ultimate entertainment complex? Monday nights, it's free football and darts in the sports bar. Tuesday night is league night. Join the pool and darts team. Wednesday night is ladies' night at Club New. All the ladies get in free. Gentlemen pay a $5 cover after 9 p.m. Thursday night starts the weekend off right with college flashback night. Low price drinks, retro music, and an awesome buffet. Friday and Saturday night, it's the hottest dance club in the suburbs. Club New Nightclub and Sports Bar is located at 2121 New York Street in Aurora.
You've tried the it places, but they leave you hungry with an empty wallet. That's where Gretel comes in. They got what you really want. Visit their chic, lounge-like gastropub and try one of Chicago's top burgers, the Gretel Griddle Burger. The house-made bun and garlic aioli set this one apart from the rest. And don't miss half-price oysters, 4 to 6, Monday through Thursday. With rotating drafts, craft cocktails, and portions that don't skip. This is one of Logan Square's best-kept secrets. Monday through Thursday, 11 to midnight. Friday and Saturday, open to 1. 2833 West Armitage. Gretel, let's make this a night. Visit GretelChicago.com for menu and more.
Back to your home for sports. Here's your SportsSoundChicago.com.
Bulls take on Hawks at State Farm Arena tonight. Hawks lead 68-55 at the half. Jalen Johnson and Kobe White are the top scorers for their team. Johnson leads all scorers with 14 and has 6 rebounds and 5 assists to go with it. White has 11 points and an assist to go along. Both point guards lead the way for their respective camps with assists. Giddey with 9, Young fall behind with 8. Giddey also leads all rebounds in this game with 8, and Johnson is behind him with 7. Bulls are 7-3 against the Hawks their last 10 games, and the Hawks have won 3 in a row, leading at halftime. Should be duly noted. More blows in the East Coast. Bucks lead the Pacers 59-44 at the half. No Giannis tonight, but Bobby Portis and Kevin Porter Jr. are paving the way in scoring for the Bucks. Portis has racked up 12 with 6 rebounds and an assist to match. Porter Jr. has 10 on 3 makes with 3 assists and 2 rebounds. Noah Obi Toppin for Pacers, He's out nursing a foot injury. However, Andrew Nimbar is the only one in double digits at the half with 11 and 3 assists to go with it. Mathurin and Siakam both assist with 7 points. Both teams well below 500. Pacers are 4-1 against the Bucks the last 5 games where Giannis is not available. In the MLB, White Sox get some pieces added to the pack. Munetaka Murakami was signed on the 21st. The third and first baseman agreed to a 2-year, $34 million contract. He currently holds the NPB record for home runs by a Japanese player in a single season. The left-hand pitcher Sean Newcomb was also signed to a 1-year, $4.5 million contract. He had recently hosted a 1.75 ERA with the Athletics. I'm Lee Sanders, and this is your Chicago SportsTown.com update powered by the Illinois Media School. If you're interested in career media, go to beonair.com.
Nothing normal about these Redbirds. At the end of the game, becomes the first team to ever win 4 playoff games on the road to advance to the national championship game.
They are back with unfinished business.
What a beautiful ISU fight song there at the end at Villanova, going to the national championship. And folks, I don't know if y'all know this about me. I don't really share too much about my past on the show, but I was a proud alum of the Illinois State University, and now my Redbirds, and I can finally say we are going to the national championship for the first time since 2014. And let me tell you, folks, it is really cool. It is really cool considering that Illinois State was the last team in the bracket. Wow. And there's a lot that goes into, the FCS playoffs. I know it's a lot different than the college football playoffs. Very different bracket structure. But at the same time, I think we can learn some things potentially about where the FCS is at with their playoffs and where the college football playoffs are at with theirs, especially with these group of 6 teams that made it and didn't really do too hot in that first round there. I'm going to start off with this, though. And Adam, I'm going to start with you here, considering the fact that, you're a very proud alum of your university as well that has had a lot of football success. Merry Christmas to your alma mater has a lot of football success. It does. And ISU, my alma mater, not as much success necessarily. So let me just start with asking you this. How does the success of athletics affect a school community, an institution, a university? How does it affect everybody involved with that university there?
Money. Well, more than money. That's one of the big things. But the community as a whole gets together. We celebrate. We have fun. You have the tailgates. And let me just say, Alabama tailgates are amazing. It's just a fun, family-friendly environment with some explicitives thrown around once in a while. That's being nice about it.
Of course.
But the homemade, the homemade cooking that some of these families bring at these tailgates just makes it just that much more fun. Makes a bigger family from fans gets together, and it's just one big thing to celebrate outside of graduation. Doesn't matter if you're stressed for a final or you got a bad grade. If we make it to the national championship, you bet we will be going to the Strip, which is where all the restaurants and the bars are.
All the downtown area there.
Yeah. And that is where everyone will just be like, oh my God, we won, we're going there. And if we win, it gets even crazier.
It's like a community.
It's a fun community. Yeah.
I'd hate to fact check you randomly, man. I'm curious about, their last successful term. Man, maybe you can do it for the last 5 years or 10 years. You can let me know what's been the most notable time for them besides this. You probably couldn't expect this coming at all.
No, I really didn't. And I'll tell you this. During my time, and I'll give a lot of credit to the head coach of ISU, Brock Speck. He has been there for, I gotta check the amount of time, but he's been there for a very long time, well over 15 years. I think 2008 was the year that he was hired. I'll have to check that, but he's been there for a very long time. And during my term that I was there from 2017 to 2021, they'd make the playoffs. They'd make the playoffs. Now, there's 24 teams in the FCS that make the playoffs. And so making it isn't a huge deal, but it's great. It's good. Yeah, we like it. Yeah. But my biggest criticism was you can never win the big game. You can never get over the hump. And the last time ISU went to the national championship was the 2014 national championship game there. And they lost to North Dakota State, one of the powerhouses of the FCS. And, I think at that point it was like, okay, that's expected. It's fine. They made it that far, which was really cool. And going into this year, I don't even know what it was. I was not expecting anything great this year, playoff wise, because their final game of the season, they lost 37-7 to Southern Illinois University I believe it was at SIU, but it was a thumping in that one, and that's not the way you want. Yeah, that's not the way. They didn't even make the playoffs, so that's not the way that you want to go into the playoffs there. And so I was not expecting that 4 road games, 4 wins there, and it was awesome to see, but it was very surprising along the way, knocking off North Dakota State, the number 1 team in the country, the defending national champions, who ISU had already lost to earlier in the year. So was not expecting that. But once that happened, the floodgates open. It's like, if they can beat North Dakota State, they can beat anybody. That's how it felt, at least. And over the next couple of games, that's exactly what they did. And Andrew, let me ask you this. this is FCS playoffs. This isn't the big level. This isn't Ohio State, U of I. This isn't that level. But being an Illinois native, being a proud Chicagoland resident here, what does it mean to see a state school that you know people that have gone there, right? What does it mean to see that team have that level of success?
Well, I mean, and you're right. My cousin went there and is a graduate of Illinois State. I have a close friend of mine who's going there and is on the marching band now. And it's always great to see the Illinois team make it that far because you're like, okay, now I have family, I have friends who go here. So I actually have it's fun to root for this team. You're not just rooting for a team because you're from Illinois, which is awesome in itself, right? But you're also rooting for this team because you're rooting for your family, you're rooting for your friends because it's their school, it's their team, and which is an awesome thing.
It is. And that audio that we played, that was from ESPN2. Now, I say that because it's notable that the fact that they were playing on a major ESPN network. Typically, these FCS games, they're on ESPN Plus. You need a special subscription even just to watch it.
Oh, yeah. You need like the special Hulu and Disney Plus, ESPN subscription. Yeah. Get all that special stuff, right?
But this one was on one of the mainstream ones. And just to see that on display for everybody, when you looked at that full slate of college football playoff games, to see ISU right there matched up against Villanova, along with Montana and Montana State, to be lumped in with what the college football world is talking about. It was just such a cool thing to see. Very proud moment for sure. And hopefully, with ISU, they're playing Montana State, very formidable team, always there in the national conversation. Those Montana schools do not play about football. They are good at it at the FCS level. Yeah. And, but it's a beautiful thing to see. Love to shout out my alma mater. But one of the main reasons I wanted to bring up ISU's unlikely success here is the fact that when you look at the conversation around the college football playoff and what's going on there and how we've got teams like Tulane and James Madison that are making the playoffs and people are complaining about it. People are saying, well, they don't deserve. They're not better than the 6th best SEC school. They're not better than the 5th best Big Ten school. And that might be the case, but they still deserve their shot at it. However, when we look at the results and we see a 41-10 loss for Tulane, we see a 51-34 loss for James Madison. It's not pretty, right? It's not good for the ratings. It's not really, other than the teams themselves, it's is not something that most people want to watch. And so I'm gonna start with Adam here. We've talked about this a lot before about how in college football ratings drive a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that the inherent nature of the FCS being more of a local, regionalized sport that maybe not a lot of people tend to watch but still care about, do you think that lends its success to, say, an ISU story where any team can go further, or do you think that expanded playoff and having these other smaller teams be in, do you think that's just, it's too revenue heavy, it's too network ratings heavy in the major college football world to ever see something like this happen?
Well, I'll ask a question with the question, and sorry about that, but why then, with money means everything, then why do they put in 2 group of 5 schools?
They put in 2 group of 5 schools because the ACC was terrible this year and did not. But their conference champion didn't deserve to get in. That's how bad the ACC absolutely was. And also, when you have 2 and 3 losses throughout the rest of the board, Vanderbilt could have made a case for it. Notre Dame obviously had a case for it. But the fact that there weren't those clear winners, you need to reward those group of 5 teams that have done everything right for the most part.
But just because you do everything right does not, I hate to say it like this, it doesn't necessarily mean you deserve to make that spot. Mm-hmm. Because there could be a team who's done everything perfect that could have had 1 loss. And at the end of the day, if you let in a 3-loss team like Alabama, it kind of looks bad, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not always the case where sometimes things like this happen, but I mean, we put a big butt whooping on Oklahoma. They were up 17-0. There we go. But the ratings would show that people would probably prefer to watch a Alabama versus Oklahoma game than a, let's just say, Tulane versus James Madison playoff game. It's just an example. I know they didn't play it like that. Mm-hmm. So it differentiates between a lot of these teams, who they're playing, if they're a small, big school, and how much money will it generate?
And I think that's the inherent root of my concern here is we're going for ratings and what people want to watch over deservedness.
Yeah.
The FCS, it's completely deserved. You win your conference, you're in. You're a very good at-large team, you're in. It doesn't matter how small of a team you are. It doesn't matter how big your market is. You're in. In the college football playoffs, that's something that people are talking about. Do people even want to see it? And let me ask you, Lee, is that the right way to look at the sport? Should we leave out teams because people just don't want to see them?
Well, there'll be a lot of teams left out. Definitely. I really detest watching the Washington Wizards on the basketball side, but we can't just leave them out of the mix completely. So no, that's
you don't got.
I don't want them to do them like that genuinely, and I feel the same. FCS as well. You want to give these guys a shot, let them climb up the wall just like with any other league.
Yeah, and Andrew, let me ask you this here with the way that the playoffs currently are. I know that they just expanded to 12.
Right.
If they were to expand further, I know people have said 16. I know people have said 24. I know people have said 32. I know that there's a lot of different suggestions out there about expansion. Do you think that the college football playoff bracket is solid as it is now, or do you think it should be expanded for a little bit more equity with these smaller schools?
That's a hard question to ask because these smaller schools are not. They don't have as much money to throw at programs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the easiest way to say it without saying you suck. These programs like Michigan, U of I, it could throw a lot of money at these programs to not only give them good equipment, but make the coaching staff as good as they can and all that. When you talk about these schools like James Madison and these smaller schools, do you really think they have the money to have those big coaching staffs and those well-known coaching staff, those notable coaching staffs to make these deep college football playoff runs? So I think the bracket right now is okay as it can be because I don't want to see those smaller schools get in there and then get completely blown out because they just don't have the resources.
What do you think, Adam?
And this kind of goes back to it. I think in the future, we're going to get a 16-team playoff. And it kind of just comes to show if your team's 13 through 16, you suck. Because with the teams we got in there, they got it. Now, with James Madison and Tulane, that's iffy on which one deserved it more than the other. But with Notre Dame also backing out and saying, nah, we're not playing in a bowl game just because you missed the playoff, are they going to be the ones that are they going to be one of the smaller reasons why maybe you potentially get a 13 through 16 team playoff, or not 13, 16 team playoff? Because they have NBC money. They're an independent. Plus, they get money on top of that. So that's double essentially of what they're making as opposed to all of these other schools. So if you have Notre Dame in this playoff in a 16 team playoff in the scenario, you'll be making not just more money, but you'll be letting in a couple of other schools from maybe a non-garbage ACC year.
Yeah. And I think to kind of answer my question a little bit here, can what happened with ISU happen in the college football playoff? I think it can at some point, but I think to point out what Andrew said, when you look at the top versus the bottom in the FCS in terms of money and resources, it is massive.
Right.
Like we are talking, the very top of the mountain to the very bottom of the ocean in terms of that disparity there. There's still that inequality at the FCS level, but it's not as bad. That ceiling is not as high. That floor is still pretty low, but that ceiling is not as high. That you look at the North Dakota State and the Montana State, they've got more money and resources than, Mississippi Valley State maybe in their football program, but it's not to the extent that you might have like a Michigan or an Ohio State with a team like Akron, for example. What do you think, Lee?
No, I was actually curious. I had a feeling that you would mention that disparity. That's why I didn't interject and ask as much as I wanted to. You brought it up for me, but I also wondered along terms of what is the big difference with the money? Does it mean better players? Does it mean bigger players? Because I know a big component of winning and losing sometimes when it comes to those teams from top to bottom are just they just have more talented and stronger, bigger players. Like it looks like they're getting run off the field a lot of times when you see an Ole Miss versus a random. You know what I mean? So, what do you think about that?
I'll give you an example in the college football world. For example, one of the highest rated quarterbacks this century, Bryce Underwood, who's currently at Michigan.
Yep.
He wanted to go to LSU. He was originally committed to go to LSU, and then Michigan threw a $12 million NIL package at him, and he went there. That is more than 20 times the athletic budgets, football budgets, at least for some of the lower level FBS teams. And we look at these things called buy games, where at the beginning of the year, a team like Michigan or an Ohio State or a U of I, they will schedule either an FCS or a very low level FBS team to come in, and they will pay them anywhere between a few $100,000 to a couple $1 million just to play that game. And those teams utilize that to build their revenue and build their budget within their programs. And so all that to say, the fact that these upper level teams have so much money to play with that they can take some of that, give it to another FBS team, and that's already doubling that team's budget. You know, that just kind of goes to show not only the NIL, the resources, and also the networks. And we always talk about the networks here with like ESPN and CBS and all those. The networks that generate the money and then give those to the teams, that is also really big. The bigger the programs, the bigger the conferences, the more network contracts they have. Go ahead, Adam.
And there's actually an interesting question I want to ask you guys, because this kind of relates to money. If you're a recruit, let's just say 5-star, right? Would you rather go to Appalachian State, where it's an FBS group of 5 level, but you won't be seen as much as like a Michigan or Ohio State? Or would you rather go to a North Dakota State, where they're one of the top, best of the best FCS school, with still some decent NIL money, but a better chance to show your skills and win a national title at the Division I AA level?
I would still personally go Appalachian State just because it's D1 and you're getting reps and film against other FBS guys, because FCS is still D1, but other FBS and potentially very high level FBS. What do you think, Lee?
No, I agree. I think it goes a lot into do you want to pick the superstar team where you can, get some good exposure, get some good team chemistry from people, however you might not get as many minutes, or do you want to pick the team where you can go be the face, go be a general leader of the team and learn more? And yeah, for the most part, I definitely would pick the route at the Appalachian, just to make sure that I can also get my exposure as well, get my reps in to get better, right? And, if I am good enough for the next level, I'm pretty sure I'll get pushed up to it, just running a mud hole through who I'm competing against.
And it's probably also easier to transfer in that situation from an Appalachian State, because I feel like some of those higher level FBS teams are going to look at some of those group of 6 teams and say, okay, what are some pieces here and there that we could pull from? So even if you're not there your entire career in this era of the transfer portal, I think they're much more likely to go out and take a risk on a guy maybe from an Appalachian State than, say, a North Dakota State. But it's also about, what are your career ambitions? Do you want to go to the NFL, or are you just looking to have a really good, fun, successful college career? And then maybe if an NFL team comes around, but maybe I just want to stay around and play football and win. Yeah, right? That's another thing that people would look for.
And also, if you're also a transfer, one thing I want to add on to the transfer portal: why the hell did they have it during the playoffs?
That's a good question, man.
Like,
that's
why?
Really
that's
question.
Like the worst time to have it. They should have, because they used to have the beginning transfer portal in January, and then they got the springtime. The springtime is a perfect transfer portal.
Didn't they get rid of that though?
Yeah, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
They should have kept that one instead of the opening one.
I heard this from somebody that I think is a pretty good take. I was talking to somebody about this very same thing, and they brought up a point that I think is pretty good that we'll, kind of wrap up here on, is in the NFL, it is a perfectly equitable system in terms of how their draft is, their salary cap. Teams have equal resources, equal opportunities. If you're the worst team, you're getting the best prospect, right?
Right.
And in college football, as we've discussed over this segment here, that is far from the case.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that transfer portal window, that in some ways, however unfair it might be to the big teams that are, competing at the highest level and trying to win a national championship, maybe it is a more equitable, and I don't always love it, but maybe it is a more equitable thing that some of the other teams that aren't in the mix for that national championship conversation get first dibs at some of those transfers. Because if you can't get first dibs that way in recruiting, maybe you do in the transfer portal as well. So I'm not saying that's a perfect way of looking at it, but in some way it is kind of like let's let the guys who didn't make it get first crack type of thing.
Very, very much makes sense.
And one thing I want to say before we get out of here, and I have a question for you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that the NLI money and all this coming into play, is that killing these smaller schools' programs?
In a way. I mean, I think it's not just NIL. I think it's the larger issues around network deals and when you look at a team like Northern Illinois, one of the major reasons that they're leaving the MAC and going to the Mountain West is for a more profitable TV network deal. And so I think money in general is hurting, and money's always been a factor, and money's always been a reason why smaller teams have failed and bigger teams have succeeded. But I think that when it comes to NIL, all you got to do really is get that little spark of success. Look at Indiana; they've got a deep alumni network. They're winning. They're getting the money, and so even to give you an example, Illinois State. An anonymous former quarterback donated $2.5 million to the ISU football team so that they can help retain some of these players. So even at the FCS level, if you have that little bit of success, that can still lead to tremendous monetary opportunities there. So I don't think it's completely killed it, but I definitely think that it's hurting and putting a lot more pressure on these smaller teams for sure.
Right. I completely agree. I feel like, college, me personally, I'm furious. I don't feel like colleges should be able to offer players money like that. That's kind of like skipping the college experience and going right to the pro experience, in my opinion.
And they couldn't at first, right? They couldn't at first. I know with basketball.
It was run. They couldn't accept gifts from the school. They couldn't accept money from the school. I mean, it was a whole thing.
Sheesh. You couldn't even have the coach take you out for a McChicken.
No, for real. Persuader, so to speak, were under a lot of fire. That's when it first came to my attention.
You want to hear a quick take before we go?
Go for it, Adam.
I have a feeling, just again, I don't know if this will happen. I hope God, I hope it doesn't. But with how much money these big schools have, it can actually crumble the group of 5 athletic programs. Like, let's just say further down the road, Tulane starts not doing well. They're starting to lose. They could lose their football team.
They could.
Yeah.
Just as an example.
You're not wrong, Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, and to close with that, I've heard a lot of people say that potentially it could be a mega conference with the Big Ten and some of the top players in the Big 12 and the ACC, and then the rest just kind of go to their own level, and we'll see about all that. But for now, I was happy with a couple group of 6 teams being in there, but at the same time, you never know where that's going to go, considering the fact that it did not look great for them in this last weekend's playoffs. Thank you very much, everybody, once again, for tuning into tonight's stream here. Let's go around. Where can the people find you one more time, Adam?
You guys can find me on Instagram at slim_SHNADY. That is slim_Schnady.
And the 5th quarter as well, correct?
Yes, and the 5th quarter here in Sportstown, Chicago. Anywhere on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Now.
I was about to say, plug your show.
Yeah, shameless plug.
Go ahead.
Mighty, you can find me on Facebook at my name, Andrew Scheid, but you can also find me Monday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. on Big Top Sports, WRMN, AM 1410, WRMN Radio on YouTube with your host, Derek Geyer. We're always talking Bears heavy that Monday.
Fantastic. Lee, where can people find you?
Hey, anytime you can find me at BROGEODI on most platforms. Also, you can find me on Chicago Sports Sound with my good man Matt on the Donlee Sports Talk Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for me, it's Matt_D14 on TikTok and Twitter. Once again, folks, thank you very much once again for tuning into tonight's show. We will see you after the holidays. Have a great rest of your night and be safe. Bear down.